Oh, boo. Sorry, I first failed, but that's perfect because that is the tomorrow.
That is us. Strong start.
Okay, there we go. Yes, I am Keven Undergaro. And that introduction, by the way, was shot by one of our staff members who will intro a little bit later. Yes, here we are. One celebrity boyfriend's midlife crisis. Millennials in Star Trek costumes. What more do you want? It's funny, it's been an amazing week. I am newly engaged. I think a lot of you in America and across the world know that by now.
Congratulations.
Thank you to the great Beth Stern and the great Howard Stern, or else no one else would know. And we just came back from the Jimmy Kimmel show literally 3 minutes ago. So that's why our beginning of the show might have been a little bit clunky, but we made it through, didn't we? It's funny. People, as I was doing press for Maria's book and then the whirlwind of the engagement and all the press that came along with it, people kept asking about the Tomorrow Show, and they kept saying, why are you doing it? And I said, well, first of all, Maria has her serious show that she does in the morning, and I keep getting messages and tweets about how bad she's hammering me on her show. And I said, geez, I need a forum to fight back. So that was like one reason why I want to do the show. The other thing is I really am at a midlife crisis. I feel like if you know anything about Maria and I've done my bit for God and country. I have her at a place career-wise where, I don't know how much more I could do. Maybe there is more, but I feel like I've done enough. And it's time for me to have a little bit of fun. And rather than start a rock band or get a 22-year-old mistress, neither of which I could possibly do anyhow, we decided to come out and have some fun. The one stipulation Maria had, though, was that she needed to have a headset by her bed and a mute button. So at any given time, Maria can, if she's hearing something she doesn't like or fans are tweeting at her telling her I'm saying something inappropriate, which will probably be half the time, she does have the power to mute us. So hopefully she will not take advantage of that or that much. Needless to say, it's not just a celebrity midlife crisis. We do have millennials in costumes. So I want to introduce to you some of our staff and starting with our co-host. I have a meatball and I have a matzo ball. So let me start with my matzo ball, my little Roxy Stryer.
Hi, Kev.
How are you, babe?
I'm doing well. Excited to watch Kimmel later.
Yeah, you can see Maria on Kimmel, so Maria's kind of everywhere right now. We also have my little meatball.
Hi.
Ashley
Kev.
Grace Daniels. I know it's supposed to just be Ashley Daniels, but I have to throw in the AGD, Ashley Grace Daniels.
When I'm in trouble, right?
Right.
Or
Yeah. Ashley Grace. Anyway, the two girls, very important parts of Maria and our lives, also Bostonians, over at the Tomorrow Show bar. And then in the booth, let's see. Let me start with our esteemed executive producer from the Dennis Miller Show, Mr. Christian Blatt. How are you, sir?
How are you? Congratulations, sir.
So
Good to see ya.
Christian's more of the adult on the show like me. Christian's the guy I go to when I can say, Christian, am I crazy? Is this generation gap?
Basically, I'm the only other guy in his 40s, so everybody else
Right.
can't relate in the way we can.
No. And, and as much as you will probably mock what I say, he has the superior IQ and the education that I need to get me through. Because if I haven't seen it on TV or in a movie theater, I have no clue what you're talking about. Moving right along, we have Mr. Jared Gilkerson.
What's up?
Jared at 31, as we like to call him here. Jared was at E for what? How long?
Off and on for a decade.
For a decade. And now, of course, he graces us with his presence. And as I said in the opening video, Jared is not quite a full-blown punk anymore, but he's still got enough punk in him just to challenge me before he eventually takes Christian and I down and is sitting at this desk running the show. But for now,
It's inevitable.
it's inevitable.
That's
Yeah,
the goal.
of course. That's it. It's inevitable. And of course, my lovely little hippie chick, Miss Lauren Lagrasso, a fellow Paisan. How are you, Lauren, dear?
Peace and love, Kev.
Yeah.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. So Lauren, it's interesting because Lauren also is the associate producer of Maria's series show in the morning. So at some point, I know there's also going to be a conflict of interest with that, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, right?
Absolutely. You know, I'm trying my best to be impartial and really bridge the gap here.
Okay, I love it.
Very PC.
I feel like, and now I feel like, no, who's ready to play the Wheel of Fortune?
I am.
Man, it was, as I said at the top of the show, it was an unbelievable week with our engagement and the Howard Stern show. And as I said, the press, it was like the Today Show and Good Morning America and the front pages of papers and people all over the world tweeting and sending well wishes. I think for the few people tuning in, which probably isn't anybody, but I guess people who will be listening to this on demand who don't know our story.
No, we have a chat roll going right now. People in
Yeah.
there talking to you, Kev.
No, but I mean, I think they know our story. They know Maria and I.
Oh.
But I think the people who, may be new to this or whatever, you don't know the whole story. But, Maria and I, our relationship started out on a bit of a rocky ground, or a super rocky ground. Her family didn't accept me because I was not Greek. And it was also at a really tough time in my life where I had just lost everything. Due to a film that I'd worked on, I was bankrupt. I was pretty much homeless. I was out of the business. It was not a good time. Previous to that, things were good. I was head writer at MTV, had a lot of great experiences, but at that point, everything had fallen apart. So it was a perfect storm of just things not being well. The only ray of sunshine was the fact that Maria and I met each other. And so there was little Maria at 19 and telling me, she's like, I want to be a film producer. And I said, you can do that a little later in life. But the good Lord has another plan for you, Maria. And that's to go out and become a star, because that's what you are. And so I remember telling her that whoever's not supporting us now, your closest family members, it will be fine. Stick to the plan, which will now be your career, your ascension to stardom in Hollywood. Focus on that. That's going to happen. And then I always say this, and finally, I always tell you, Ashley and Roxy, I always tell you guys this too. And Ashley, I know I say it to you often. Hollywood just has a way of working everything out. Success in Hollywood just has a way of working everything out. And if you're cynical, you'll say, well, okay, because once you're rich and famous, everyone wants to be in. That is true to a degree. However, in our case, and in many cases, it helps people really understand what the dream and the fight was all about. So that's why we say to you, when I say to you, Ashley, because I know you have your family issues as well, Italian families, you and I, we get it. And I tell you that when everything kind of clicks and happens, a light bulb goes off in their head and says, I get it now. I get what your struggle was about. I get why you put the focus in that you did. And this is paid off in the greatest way possible. Better than making money on Wall Street, better than opening a business, or better than marrying, someone that the whole family loves or whatever. This is just bigger because it's epic what you've done. And we stuck to that plan. And within a couple of years, Maria remains the youngest person ever to host Entertainment Tonight at 22.
I can't get over that.
I can't either now.
When you say that age, oh my God.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it really is.
But even at that time, it was I was so focused. I was so in my zone that I was like, what are you talking about? What's next? Keep going, keep fighting. Our heads were so down. Our blinders were on, and we were so focused on that goal that we didn't even think of that. And I'm glad we didn't, because I think if we did, she might have realized the stage she was on, and who knows, maybe she wouldn't have been as amazing as she was. And then everything worked out beautifully, and I always said, like, to get in with the Greeks, they're a great gang. I got beaten. You know how with a gang you can get beaten or sexed in? I got beaten, but then once you're in, you're in. You're in the gang. You know what I mean? They got your back. It's like, so what happened? I wouldn't change it for anything. rather than had I been the guy that they accepted from the beginning, which I've seen happen, and then it's just a little bit tense for the next 30 or 40 years. This was, I got the beat down, I got beaten into the gang, and then I'm in. I'm equal to Maria, in terms of, her mom and her dad, and it's been blissful ever since. The problem is, if you know anything about Hollywood, then the new fight was on. It was not the fight to say, okay, make mom and dad love us and cousins love us or whatever. The fight now became, well, damn, when you're in this, you're in it. And you guys, everyone in this room is in the early stages of this. And it's fun to watch you guys grow up. And in a way, you're a little spoiled because you have me to protect you and block for you and make the holes for you. But then again, Maria had that too. But this business is freaking brutal. And it was. And Maria's journey was brutal. And not just because she was Maria. I don't know a female in this business who doesn't have a brutal, have it brutal. I don't. And, you can either be a good girl and take the beating and either quit or get sick or age at an unhealthy rate, or you can become, one of these like dragon ladies who just, grows the fangs, grows the claws, and goes on the attack. And even those women, it's their way of protecting themselves because it really is that hard. It's every cliche that you've heard about or read about. It's all true. And by the way, I have friends just on Wall Street and in the business world who have the same problems as women. But in this business, it's even tougher because, as I always say, on Wall Street, you have fortune on the line. In Hollywood, you have fame and fortune on the line. So when you're fortune, you have greed. When you're fame and fortune, you have greedy and sick. And that's what we deal with. And so it has been a hell of a beating all that time. And so that's why people ask, why now? Why now? Well, we were just kind of busy, for those first 19 years, fighting for Maria's career, to get her stable, to get her to a place where she could be comfortable. And we were married in our hearts, and we still are. And so it never really mattered to us. Things being together was much more important than a piece of paper or a ring or a party. Just having each other to count on, that was what was most important to us. But when I go back to when we first met, and we were basically homeless, with the exception of the fact that I had a dear lady named Nancy Ranzo, who we used to call Aunt Nancy, who allowed us to live in her unfinished basement at the time. And Maria and I shared this twin mattress at the time, and we had no family, no friends, no money. And that was the moment we would listen every morning to Howard Stern before we would go to work. And we heard Carmen Electra on the show. And Maria was like, wow, she's so beautiful, and this show's so amazing. And I just said, Maria, you will be on that show, and you will be a big star.
Did you honestly believe that at the time you said it?
Yes,
or were you just trying to make her feel better?
Without a blink. And what I didn't know, she only admitted to me 10 years later, is that in the back of her head she was saying, this guy's fucking nuts. He's out of his fucking mind. But you know what? All right, I'll play along. Okay, cool. No. Because one thing about me, and I said this earlier today, I did press with a guy by the name of Rude Jude. And if you don't know him, check him out.
He is so good.
Right? So he's on Sirius. He's written a book. He's developing a show with HBO and the Wahlbergs. But I said to him, you're going to be huge. And he just kind of said, oh, thanks. I said, no, I always know. I just know. I have this ability that I wish I had other gifts in life rather than this one. But I just always know. And I have several examples of it. But with Maria, I knew. It wasn't even a doubt. I said, no, of course you will be. Of course. Just have to stay the course. Don't worry. But I say that because that's how close we've been to the Howard Stern show. And so when Maria first did his show, she did the tickle chair. And I don't know how many years ago that was. When you really think about it, it might have been 13, 14 years ago. And then she had not been on for a while. And the next time she was on, I forget, she was promoting her first book, and it was a time where I happened to be in the Sirius building because I had a meeting there that day. Or else I wouldn't have been there, because one of the things I had done in all the years with Maria is I'd made a conscious decision to not appear on camera, to not do red carpets, to not do any press. And I always said to Maria, like, just please don't talk about your romantic life or your dating life. Keep me out of it. She was far more interesting to me as a beautiful young single girl, but then also if I had that freedom to have no one know me, like I used to always say, you can't kill a ghost, right? There's nothing anyone can do to me. So leave me out of it so I can do things behind the scenes and help us, in a way, if I'm famous, that I can't, or if people know me, I can't. And furthermore, when Maria does those shows, whether it's Conan or Howard or Adam or any of those shows, I mean, that's the time for those hosts to have fun with Maria. And that's where I always say, they don't really need to be looking at fuckballs. And as you get to know me, that's my household nickname for myself, fuckballs. But they don't need to be, they're in there, they've got this cute little girl in there, they're having fun, and then out of the corner of their eye, they're just going to see fuckballs just staring at the whole thing. So I always stayed out of it so the hosts would have fun, and they did, and no matter what she did, whether it was Letterman or Kimmel or Fallon, they would have fun with her, she'd have fun with them. And so it just so happened this one day I was in New York because I had two really big meetings, and one happened to be in the Sirius building. And so I said, okay, well, you know what? I have emails I have to get out. I've got my laptop. In New York, they won't let you sit on the ground and use your laptop. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's like, get up, in a building.
Of course.
So I said, okay, well, I'll just go work in the green room. I crunch down in the corner, and I'm working on my computer. And then Gary Delabate had kind of done his due diligence, and he put everything together. And so Howard started grilling her about who she was dating. And then he said to Howard, he came into the green room and said to me, he's like, you're the boyfriend. I know you are. Will you go out there, please? And I said, no. And then I thought about it for a second. And I was like, God, I've been a fan of this guy for, at that time, I don't know, 20 years. It was probably, maybe,
Wow.
And if you're a Howard fan, it's practically a religion. And especially someone like me who wasn't in the business, it was doing all the grunt, mindless jobs. As we get to know each other better, you'll learn for about 10 years, I was a carnival worker working in the carny business with ex-cons, junkies, thieves, mobsters, sleeping under trucks, just horrible conditions. I was doing that because I would take that summer money to go to LA in the winter to write for television, which I was able to successfully do. But
Everyone at home
right,
was like,
going,
what is that list?
Right.
That you
Of-
of carny, junkie, everything
all
you
of
just
them.
named.
Well, you know what? That's just my checkered past.
Can't wait to get into it,
But
Kev.
listening to Howard every morning, it just inspired you. And I know there's a lot of people in the regular work world, who are doing jobs that maybe don't make them so happy. And to have that for your commute, or to have that playing on your headset while you're working or whatever, it just would make the day go so much better. So it was always very important to me. And I said, God, if I look back on life and I didn't take my one shot to go meet Howard, I'm going to probably hate myself. So I said, okay, I'll go in. And then once I did, my life changed overnight, because now everyone knew me. And
How did you know they knew you? Because
my phone, like everything, my email, everything like blew up.
were you getting stopped in the street? Did people recognize you?
No.
or-
It was, I forget why. Maria being Maria, type A Maria, caring so much about her bum, me being the bum. She had set up a Twitter account for me that I never used, @Undergaro. I didn't know. She'd set up because she just had, as she says, her Greek witch instinct. She's like, no, you just need one. And she'd set it up about a month before. And so next thing you know, the thing went off like a pinball machine. And I think it was, and at that time, Twitter was just starting. And I think it got up to 15, 16, 17,000. It went like nuts. And it spooked me and I shut it down. But it was the beginning of everything, and it really changed my life because I'd gone from being someone who was very depressed from having lost my film and the tragedy I endured, to being very reclusive and 100% just focused on staying in the house and working around the clock for Maria's career, to all of a sudden now being out and about, but out and about on the Howard Show, who was my idol. And so I really credit Howard emotionally for helping me, you know, and being a big part of the transition of my life. So when it came to finally this engagement, I just figured, what other better place to do it? If we're going to do it, let's do it. And about a year and a half ago, Maria's dad and I were out having drinks, and I know he was really starting to get antsy about the marriage thing. You know, just, I mean, a Greek guy from the village, very conservative. This poor guy has endured so much with us. He's had to endure Maria on Stern. He's endured Maria with these semi-naked photos she took for this artsy magazine. Us living in sin, us not married, us not talking about, not even discussing having kids. I mean, and I knew it was getting to him. And I said, listen, Costa, I'm going to ask her to marry me. Don't worry. Okay. But I said, I want to do it on Howard. So this is now predicated on whatever the next time is we're on Howard. But I'm not telling anyone else this. You can't tell anyone else this, but just please sleep well at night to know it's going to happen. And so when Maria, this cookbook, Every Girl Guide to Cooking, our publicist called
Amazing, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Called Gary Delabate and said Maria would like to be on. And Gary's like, well, listen, she's a friend of the show. We have to have her on. But it's a little tough because our audience doesn't really care about cookbooks. And I took this part as a big compliment when he said, can we make sure Kevin's there? So that made me feel good. So that was a nice feeling. But then once I knew we were booked, then it was on. And that's when I reached out to Beth Stern. Now, from this point in the story, I'll tell you more, but I would like to introduce the first guest of the Tomorrow Show.
Drum roll, please.
Yes. Is she ready? Oh, there she is. My beautiful fiance.
I haven't heard him call her that.
Miss Maria Menounos. And you wore the colors.
How are you? Congratulations. Can I see the rock?
I haven't even
Let's
seen
see it.
you.
It's blinding.
Oh my God, it's gorgeous. It's even prettier than in pictures. Oh,
Kev. Oh my God.
I did okay. Right?
Kev, honestly.
Right?
For a carny? Like,
Yeah,
wow.
for a low life, not bad.
Oh.
For a degenerate,
Jeez.
Oh my God.
He
not
knows his stuff.
bad.
Oh my God.
Jared at 31, we need some sound there, buddy. We need power to the shields.
I think she's got to put it a little closer to her mouth.
Thank you. It's okay. You know, Jared at 31, I don't feel bad because if you look at the tape of JD trying to get me my mic as I'm proposing, and he's bungling it all over the place.
Yeah.
So we're in good company. There we go. Do we have Maria?
We've got her. It's just got to be pretty close to the mouth there to pick her up.
I mean, I could make out with it if it gets any closer.
No, we got you,
Your
boo.
fiance might be jealous of that now.
No, my fiance.
Oh.
Hi, boo.
Hi, honey.
How are you?
I'm good. And you look
You look-
amazing in
Thank
your
you.
in
You
your
all
uni-
look amazing.
Thank you for wearing the colors, wearing the proper Tomorrow Show attire.
You're welcome. I feel like as the admiral of the ship, I should be in appropriate colors.
Yes, I should have said that. The official
Mhm.
rank of Maria on this is Admiral. But I did tell him about the mute button. I told him about the headset by your
Okay.
bed, the ability to cut us off or me off at any time.
Yep. Very important
Oh,
power.
you know what stinks, though? It's like I feel it's sad because I don't know if I have anyone on this crew that will go rogue with me.
What do you mean?
I think everyone here will
Listen to me.
respect the chain of command.
As
That-
they should.
But by the way, on Star Trek, if you're familiar with the series, I believe it was Star Trek 3 when they went rogue, where Captain Kirk had to go rogue against the Federation and against the admirals, and everyone joined him. Who here would go rogue with
I'd
me?
go rogue
I
with you,
would.
boo.
Maria, I love you, but Kev, I'm all yours. It's
I
your
love it.
show, and I'm going.
Oh!
I'm going with it.
Thank you,
Oh.
Roxy. Roxy's my nickname for Roxy is Honey Badger. Why, Roxy?
Because of that?
Because Honey Badger what?
Don't
Honey
give a fuck.
Honey, yeah.
Honey Badger don't care.
Honey Badger don't care.
She'll eat the snake's head off.
That's right.
It was a YouTube video.
My lord.
A little shout out there,
That
but
explains that.
yeah. But you know what? Okay, so Roxy would be the one to go rogue. But that's all right, Roxy. We do okay.
Sorry, Maria.
We would do okay in the
listen,
galaxy.
Listen, everybody has to pick a side in life, and you just have to live by your side.
Honey, listen, when Captain Kirk went rogue, it was for the greater good. We would
Okay.
only go rogue for the greater good.
Okay.
Anyway, we were talking about the whole engagement process.
Oh, yes, I do recall that event.
We painted the background, and then I was at the fact that a year and a half ago I talked to Papu and told him we're doing this. And then once you booked us on the Howard Stern show, that's when I went to work. And so I called our publicist, Gary Mantu, excuse me, screwing up my Gary's. And because I just know he would slice my head off if I ever walked on that show and did that without telling you, because he would have a heart attack. So I said, I'm just going to tell you. I said, but you cannot tell anybody.
Without telling him, not with telling Maria. You didn't tell Maria at all.
No.
Just to the publicist.
God, so Scoop Menounos? No, that was going to be the biggest problem of all, is keeping a secret from this one.
She's been very surprised. I have definitely been Snapchat stalking you this week because I'm just so unbelievably just so giddy for you. Like you're so, every single Snapchat.
Is that she's excited?
Oh wait,
Well, it was the fastest thing I could do in my state of shock there. I'm like, wait, I need to Snapchat this. Oh my God, this isn't happening.
It was really cute.
Going back to the story, when I called Gary, he was excited. He's like, no, Kevin, I'm super excited. What can I do to help? I said, I want to get in touch with Howard and Beth because I don't want to jackknife Howard's show. The show is very precious to Howard. And I didn't know if that was rude or would screw. I just didn't know. I didn't want to go and pull a stunt or a gag or anything, without
Because
him
this
knowing.
was really important to you, boo.
It was very important to me.
So you think
But also it was important to me, but also, listen, you're still going on to, it's like going into someone else's house.
Totally.
You don't want to go in there and be disrespectful. Gary was like, okay, I will ask Maria for Beth's information. And of course, Maria, being just loyal gangster that she is, she's like, no, I'm not giving Beth Stern's info. He's like, I'm not giving that out. And so Gary's like, Kev, I asked her and she said no. And Maria's like, no, I'm sorry. And I said, Maria, he wants it for something charity. She's like, Kevin, that is a personal friend, an email. You don't give out people's information. I'm sorry. You can get it from someone else.
Good job, though.
Yeah, but this is how tough she is. And I ended up one time, we were in your bathroom and you were getting ready, and I said, let me put on some music or something on using your phone. And somehow I was able to tear the email off, Beth's email. And then I sent her out the email and said, Beth, it's Keven Undergaro, and I have a strange request. And basically I explained everything, what I wanted to do. And I was like, God, how is she going to respond? Well, she responded back and said, she's like, I'm crying. This is so beautiful. Howard is also crying, and he thinks it's an amazing idea. And Howard said, do not tell anyone from the show. And then Beth said, make sure you delete every one of my emails that comes in, which is smart. And
Thank God.
And I said to her, and I was like, well, I don't have anyone to run the whole getting the ring, but we obviously want to get the ring, and I had to pick out the ring. And this is just something I'm not very prolific at, and so I just wanted someone to run it by.
Just in general, jewelry is not your thing, or
No.
just shopping for Maria's hard?
Everything.
The whole
Everything,
thing.
the whole
He's never
thing.
shopped for me.
I used to buy your clothes back when.
Yes. For
Right?
work reasons.
Yes, I could style you
Yeah.
back in the day to hold
Yeah,
it
but
down.
gifts not his forte.
Well, again, tough to buy for the girl who has everything.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
He gives me bigger gifts, like career gifts,
Exactly.
Right.
family gifts.
You do know your stuff fashion-wise, though.
I'm okay.
I gotta interrupt for a second because I feel like Ashley sounds so hollow.
She
I
does.
can't hear her at all.
I can't.
That's
hear
what they were
myself.
saying
they're
in the
working on
chat
it.
too. I think they were.
You sound great. I think you need to move your mic really
Or
close to
no,
your
or
face.
she's not hooked
Yeah,
up.
no, I can't hear any. I can't hear myself. Oh, now I
There
can.
we go.
There we go.
Ooh,
Sorry, I had to say
boo.
something. I was getting a little.
Thanks.
It was
She's always
bothering
got
me.
my back, this girl.
I love it.
I just
gotta make
thanks.
sure.
Every time you come in, our team messes up. Maybe you make everybody nervous. People
I
sweating
mean-
there a little bit. Admiral comes in, everybody loses it.
Yeah.
So you had Beth helping you. Is that you
So
were going to?
so we started. I went with John. Is it Doucet or Doucet?
Jean Doucet.
John Doucet, who was the
Parlez-vous français?
great grandson of Cartier. You know, the original diamond broker and designer, and very, very passionate about rings and diamonds and this. So he gave me a full education that, you know, about the cut, the clarity, the color, all that stuff.
Is my cut and clarity good, honey?
Oh, hells yeah. Hells yeah.
Not that I really care. Could have been a cubic zirconia for all I cared. I love it.
Well, you know,
It's so shiny.
she was Beth helped me. I didn't know even the carat size, because I know you're not conservative, but you're not showy.
Yeah.
You're also somebody who forever has said, I don't want to wear a ring and act like I'm owned by somebody. You know, that's what I heard for 18 or 19 years.
You said that to other people or just to him?
Everybody. Anybody who asks me, like, are you going to get engaged? I'm like, ew, that's weird. Then you're wearing a ring. It's like you're owned by somebody. Like, that's just weird. And I just was, you know.
Was that a front though, or like inside at your core, did you kind of want it?
I
at some
honestly
point?
don't even remember. To be honest, it could be a little bit of both, because when we wanted to get married and we wanted to be together, nobody wanted us to be together. So then, you know, when you can't get what you want, you're going to build up these walls and these defenses that are going to kind of help you get through, you know, 19 years of, you know, whatever. But at some point, like, we were married in our hearts, it didn't matter. It genuinely did not matter to me anymore. And I never thought it would mean anything to me at this point other than being a formality.
The last year and a half, I don't know if you know you were doing this, you kept bringing up marriage to me. What are we going to do about this, Kev? What are we going to do about this? Are we going to like do this or not? We have to start thinking about this, because neither one of us wanted to bring children in without being married,
here's
or
why.
at least to have that.
Here's why. I'm remembering right now why, because you were saying this before and I was like, why was I so obsessed with this? First of all, my dad has put up with a lot, as you said earlier.
Yes.
And my dad has said, it will kill me if you guys have kids and you're not married. And I really just think that he's really been a good sport for the most part. I mean, it was a rough start, but he's been a good sport all this time.
We talked about that, yeah.
And so it was like, I didn't want to disappoint him again, because that's never what you want to do when you love somebody. And so I was like, oh, God. I kept asking my mom, like, Mom, is he really going to be upset? Like, this is really something I have to worry about now. This is so annoying. And so it was bothering me. But then also my uncle and my aunt in Greece are getting older. And I look at them I look at my uncle more like, you know, almost like a grandfather kind of figure, because I never got to really enjoy mine and see them. My mom's a little bit, but... and so I'm like, oh, I was starting getting sentimental that I wanted to do this so that we could like check off all those boxes and whatever. But since
I was growing terrified, because I legit was afraid you were going to ask me.
It's kind of possible. I never really thought about it.
And I just said, can I just please have control of it? Just one, like, tiny part of this relationship. Can I just be a man? Everything else, I've been emasculated, and I've been fine with it. I've been a great
come
wife.
On, cry me a river.
Great corporate wife, and I'm happy with all that. But the one thing I was like, please let me hang on to this. And I remember telling your dad too. I said, I swear, if I don't do this, she's gonna ask me.
What would you have said?
I mean, what could I have said? I probably would have said no. No, I would have said no.
What?
I would have said no.
What?
Yes.
Why would you say no?
No, yes.
Because I want to ask her. I would have said no.
But you know, it must be nice now, because you guys have been asked so many times in the past 19 years, when are you going to get engaged? When are you going to get married? It's probably like how many times have you heard that in your life?
I mean,
Can't
we did a
imagine.
whole reality show about
It's
it.
insane.
When are you gonna have children?
Now it's going to be when. Yeah, that's going to be the question now.
Yeah.
Well,
when are you gonna
well, now it's
questions.
more when. Now everyone wants to know
Yeah.
when.
Yeah.
But you know, for me, I did not expect two things. One, I did not expect the press to be what it was. I mean, I knew being on Howard would be big, but I didn't know that it would resonate as big as it did.
Okay, Keven was number 3 searched person on Yahoo.
Saw
Like,
that.
I was
Hilarious.
like, boo. I go, it's not even my name. It's yours.
It was underneath Red Sox. I
It
was
was
like,
like,
yeah.
Red Sox, 2, electric car, 3, fuck
no,
balls.
you were 3.
You were 3. Those were first and second.
I just said that, guys.
I,
No,
I
you
heard
didn't.
you say 1 and 2.
Well,
How come we both didn't get that?
Because you are the same. Anyway.
Moving
We're
on.
the same. All right, I'll take
similar.
that.
You
Yeah.
guys are the same.
Thanks.
Well, when it comes to this, yeah, we've talked about that.
No, I
You
think
guys are the same.
Roxy's the same as her.
Business-wise, yes, but no.
Oh,
Goes the other way when she goes rogue. She goes rogue. Yeah, she goes rogue. She loses focus.
oh, great.
But backing,
Now I get it.
but backing up about the ring,
Okay, so you didn't expect two things. One,
One.
the hoopla around it all.
and two, which I'll save too.
Why?
I didn't expect because I want to give more credit to when we were talking about the carrot size of the ring.
Okay, go ahead. We'll go back to that.
Yeah, it was hard because you're not the big showy person, but then you say to yourself, well, God, but she's in Hollywood,
Right.
right? So is there a certain place I need to be at? So that's, so Beth also was great coaching me at that. She said, listen, 2 or 3 carrots, you're fine, which made me feel good. My mother, on the other hand, as we joked about, she's like, yeah, for a regular person, that's fine. But out there, she's like, it's usually 5 carrots. I'm like, oh,
She's
God.
so funny.
Could you even
Yeah.
believe hearing that the night before you're about to propose to somebody and that's what your mom says?
No.
She's like, but it's fine. It's fine.
I'm
It's
surprised you even told Kathy before.
well, to my mom, I told her and
Yeah.
Costa beforehand. And so, between Jean and Beth and, whatever, the team came together. And this is what we did. And the other thing was keeping it top secret was another problem because Maria
Is a snoop.
is a snoop and knows everything.
Nancy Drew over there.
I'm not a snoop. I'm a snoop with him because I always used to say in the beginning, you're supposed to snoop on your boyfriend because that's how you get to know what's happening. And so I do always tell women, I'm like, yep, snoop away in the beginning, whatever. But I haven't snooped in so long. But you guys were doing the Tomorrow Show.
We were
I
doing
was
test shows.
bored out of my mind. This was like a week ago. Bored out of my mind and just, yeah, really bored. And so I'm walking by where his phone is and it's blowing up. Bing, 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 bing. Well, let's just see who's texting him and emailing him. So I went onto his phone. I was like, boring. 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 Okay, moving on. Put it down and went back to bed. And was like, okay, I'll go to bed now. Because I didn't know what to do with myself. I needed my boo.
Just determined to ruin
And
it.
so can you imagine if I had
Determined.
intercepted something and I would have never
You didn't,
forgiven
though?
myself?
Honestly, you didn't see anything.
Nothing. Because I would say it. I would be like, I'm the biggest asshole on the planet, and I would be so mad at myself. And instead, I am so happy God really protected me.
I mean, even to the point when I first asked you, when I on the show, or before I asked you, when Howard gave me the mic.
And
Yeah.
it sounded like this awkward pause. And I'm so glad we saw Brett, my other publicist, today, because he's like, I've seen you guys do that before, where there's like an awkward pause, and I'm like, are you gonna propose to me? Because
And
it's
I'm
like a TV
again,
moment.
and that's
that you
where,
Oh my God,
but
you
that's
said that?
but that's where you and Ashley are so much alike. It's like, God, fuck, why, Maria? Can you please just shut the fuck up? God
I'm your
damn
fiance,
it!
don't
Just
say those things
I know,
now.
but it was like your big moment, and it was like, and I was like, oh my! And then I recovered by saying, no, I said,
Yeah, you threw me off the trail.
no,
because
it's not a
then,
proposal.
Then I'm like, oh, he was probably gathering his thoughts and he didn't know what he was going to say because Howard's grilling me about like Mario Lopez and Giuliano Rancic and all this stuff and my sex life and all this shit. And so he collected himself and then he started talking about our journey and how I was crying earlier talking about how painful it was. And so as he's doing that, my eyes are welling up. I'm so there and I'm like trying to hold it together. I'm like, don't cry. And then he says it's a proposal. And then that's when I like freak out and I go off to the side of the couch, which I Instagrammed. And from there, it all went hazy. And I felt like I thought it was like almost like a million things rush through your head. It's like your life flashes before your eyes. And one of the things that I thought was, this is a joke. And everyone's going to think he's the biggest asshole for pulling a publicity stunt and a prank on me right now and here on this show.
Jared,
then
why
it
don't we
wasn't a
roll it?
joke.
Why don't we roll it, Jared? You have it, right?
Got it.
Here we go.
Go with the play-by-play.
Do you like watching
Go
this
ahead,
back?
I'll give you the microphone.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I'm going to give the microphone to
Oh my
Maria's
God, he has so
longtime
much to say. I
boyfriend.
can
He wants
see
to
it
say
all.
something.
I do, and because it's been so
Are you
long.
about to propose to me?
Jesus.
Oh my God! It felt like he was about to propose right now.
She's so
Whoa.
psycho.
Noah, you're doing Noah too.
It was just, it was so emotional to hear you say everything.
Your
that you said.
boyfriend of 19 years wants to talk to you, Maria.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Because listening to everything you said there, back when we were in the green room and talking about what you've been through, but I've been through it with you, and it's just hard, you know. Like I well up with tears too because I think about what we both have been through as a couple, and when we wanted to be together, you know, we couldn't, right? Because people didn't want us together, and then
You mean her parents?
yeah,
Right.
and family, and then it was literally like the last 17 or 18 years of us, you know, fighting together and me defending her as best as I could, and you know, and obviously we got to a better place, and you got a better deal. Which is really why she left the other job. I mean, I don't know what businessman wouldn't take a better deal. It was
So
a much better
pause.
deal, and it was
So
global.
Jared, see that? Jared at 31, see that?
Totally off the track
Yep.
now.
But
I'm gone.
yeah, but you get so it's to take Maria off track number one, but
Get a
always
point across.
no, but always keeping your eye on the ball because as important as that engagement was, it's still about the career and how we how we pay the bills and how things go. And Howard had you talking about why you left Extra and why you went to E and whatever, and I just said really what it is. We got a better deal, and in my opinion, a better job because we're in 120 countries at E, as opposed to where we were in the past. And who wouldn't take a better deal? Keep going, Jared.
Wait, notice
but,
my like held smile so that I don't cry. I'm kind of like,
Keep going,
my
Jared.
eyes are
down.
welling
I
up.
will
Yeah.
look at that. I didn't see
But
that.
you know, it reminds me just how much I do love you, and although I said that this isn't a proposal,
The Maria
I
reaction.
want to ask you
Nice
something,
bomb,
Maria.
where
Would
you
you
from?
make me the happiest man on earth, and would you marry me? I have to go down on a knee and get off the mic. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Get down
Rich
on your knee.
loved this part the most.
Get that mic near you.
So funny.
I don't want to miss a
Are
minute of it.
you pull that mic down? Kidding me?
Look at the ring. Wait, put on some headphones, goddammit.
Somebody get headphones on
Quickly.
him.
Headphones.
Watch
Get
the
me on
board.
two.
What's the matter with you?
Oh my God, JD.
JD, you're ruining my fucking moment.
Is this a joke?
It's not a joke.
Wait,
It's a big
what did you
ring.
say?
It's not a joke. Maria. This I wouldn't joke about. I love you so much, and this show's meant so much to both of us. This is the first thing we listened to together. 19 years in that basement on a twin mattress, and I said one day you will be on that show and you will be a star. And here you are, and here we are, and it's like why not make it
the
official now?
breathing.
You know,
Handle
will
that.
you, honey?
Okay,
Will
just
you
say yes
accept?
anytime, Maria.
Oh
Hey,
my God, are you kidding me right
Oh my God! See, this is the
He's
worst.
been, he's been working
What
on
are
this
you
ring for
doing?
a long time.
I've been working with Beth Stern, the great
Shut
Beth Stern.
up,
She's the only one that, other than our publicist, that because I had to tell him because I know he'd have a heart
Christian, I
attack.
hope we're timing
No
this
one
for the
else
time I
knows
asked her.
about this. Your dad last night, I pulled him out of the hotel. That's when I
That's
pulled
why
him
you
out.
pulled him out of the
yes,
room?
to tell him. Right after I told my mom. So
He's
Maria,
still-
will you marry me?
Can you pause it for a second? At that point, that was when I was considering saying no. And I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Maria, seriously, a lot of people have asked me if that ran through your mind because it did take you a while to say
I
yes.
had no idea what the hell was happening. I
Yeah.
was so stunned. It was like someone like hit me in the head. I had no idea what was going on.
Wow.
I can't even believe this is happening.
By
I
the way,
can't
is
even-
this ring big enough? Sorry. I didn't even know.
Kevin
Beth-
putting the
Beth
ring
approached.
on Maria's finger.
Which this
Oh
one?
my God, this
The
isn't
ring is
happening
going
right
on.
now.
It is
I'm gonna turn
happening.
around and do it
Watch
to
it.
Robin.
It's happening. Maria, cry.
It's points, right?
Maria,
Maria,
cry.
I got tears in my eyes.
Not
She
you,
was
Robin.
laughing. No, I was.
This
And now I'm just
desert. This one?
Honey, are you serious right
This
now?
one.
What do you think of the ring?
Oh my God, I love it.
He's been
Oh my God, it's amazing.
going to be a married woman finally.
Boo.
I love
Boo.
you so much.
Oh, love you, honey.
Fuck balls.
Grab her titties.
Howard, grab her titties. It's freaking amazing.
Wow.
Oh my God.
How beautiful.
Oh my God.
Let's see the rock.
Did I do okay?
You did amazing.
It's a nice ring, right?
Oh
Beth
my
thought it was
God.
outrageously great.
Yeah, we.
Yeah.
I mean, I even had to ask Beth, but carrot size. I said, Maria's very conservative. I go, but I don't want to embarrass her. And Beth was
You
like,
got
"No."
a white piece of shit hanging under your lip. That's why you're goddamn nervous.
I am. I'm a wreck. I'm a wreck. Nothing gets me. Nothing gets me
Yeah.
nervous. But obviously, this
She
was.
accepted. You got your hot
she
chick.
did. Why are you in shock?
I'm in absolute shock.
I just feel like when I leave, she's gonna go, okay, really? And the ring's gonna come off. Like,
No, I
After
can't.
19 years, it's about fucking time with you two.
right.
There it is.
I can't even believe it. Watching it again, I feel like I'm reliving the moment, and I'm like there again, and I find myself with my jaw still back open again, and being like,
How many times have you watched it since you've gotten engaged?
that might be like the 5th time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I was-
Have
Crazy.
you referred to him as your fiance yet?
Yes.
Oh,
Sometimes
yeah.
I forget,
Well,
but
that brings me to the second thing that surprised
my
me.
fiance.
Yeah.
And I will say this to any boyfriend who's out there, and no matter what your girlfriend is saying and how much of a feminist she's acting like, you have been so happy and excited, and in a way I don't know if I've ever seen. I'd like to say when you were 19, 20 or 20 years old, but then it was so hard for us then, so we couldn't really smile out. Maybe when we first moved to California, we got a little apartment in a very dangerous area, but we decorated it. We were kind of excited, you know, but I haven't seen this kind of happiness, joy, and excitement. And I would have done it sooner had I known, but it's completely shocked me.
I'm shocked myself.
About how happy and excited you are?
Well, yeah, but I think it's starting to like all connect for me, because when you think about the fact that when you get together with somebody, that's like your excitement, right? Like your exciting time. It's your courtship. We never had that. And not only did we not have that, we had the complete opposite. We had everyone against us, people, you know, families disowning us. I won't even get to the stuff that will be making the movie someday, lives threatened and things like that. It was a really, 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 really unbelievable
But your captain navigated us out,
time.
right? You were not an
And
admiral back then.
No one, even when we tell few people that know the story and they hear it, they they can't believe it. It sounds like such an unbelievable movie, but it's
By the way,
true.
so much of it unnecessary when you think
All
about it, right?
unnecessary.
All unnecessary. Just two young people in love.
Yeah.
And had a dream.
Totally.
Like really, like we didn't hurt anybody. We didn't threaten anybody.
No.
You know, we didn't steal from anybody. I mean, just
It's-
terrorized and attacked. And by the way, shame on you. And you know who you are. All of you. Shame on you. But that being said,
we never had that kind of love
Yes.
coming our way. In fact, we had the complete opposite. And then, you know, throughout the years, even out in this business, like people were always like, they'd either say I was a closet lesbian and he was my business partner and it was all a sham. They called him Snuffleupagus. That was the funny stuff. But people just never wanted to acknowledge him or, it was just tough.
Maria,
And
how
so,
did you hear that stuff though? That you were a closet lesbian or that he was Snuffleupagus?
well, people call him Snuffleupagus to my face, and I would just like laugh it off, whatever. The lesbian stuff I don't even remember.
Just
Probably
people
through
would tell
friends.
you?
Friends would tell me that people think that. People have a lot of different thoughts. And so, anyhow, is my lighting better this way? Did you guys forget to turn on my lights? Phil, Svitek, you guys. Oh,
Maria
wrong
turning
one.
on.
So anyway, having now having all of that kind of
I'm
love.
going to fix your light. Keep going.
Yeah, we have all of this love just like rushing to us. It was like playing a video game with our emails and texts and getting back to people and everyone wishing us congratulations and the world wishing us congratulations. I mean, really, like this went everywhere. So it was it's been overwhelming, and so we feel like we're finally getting that courtship that we never got. So we're super giddy and mushy and lovey, and like everything is like so heightened happy. And so I've been saying to everyone, I'm like, I said on my show this morning on Conversations with Maria, I'm like, I have a wall of bliss and you are not allowed to enter unless you're going to bring me more bliss. Like it's like the Berlin Wall. You stay on your side, I'm going to stay on mine, and my side's the wall of bliss. Like, so you guys can be on your negative train on the other side. I want none of it, because this is the first time I can say I'm truly happy on all cylinders, work and personal, and I'm not going to allow anybody to come in and ruin it.
A little shout out to you Stern fans. Personal life, a 9.
What?
Nothing.
Personal life, a
9.
Annoying.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys get it. If you're a Stern fan, you know.
Noah. Which, by the way, the prank calls he did with Noah was friggin' amazing.
I mean, and the prank calls and then the songs.
Noah.
You know,
yes, this is Noah.
Talking about all the love and support, you know, that's been also pretty shocking how much has come in.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, such a contrast to how we started.
Totally.
And what I love the most out of all of it after Howard was the Boston Herald.
I know.
Putting you on the cover and saying something like Maria got engaged. And it was just, I was talking to some of the Boston press back when we were there this weekend doing your book signings. And they were just talking about how they feel like you're their girl. Like they feel ownership in your journey. Aww. And they said, you know, we feel the same way about Ben and Matt and the Wahlbergs, but we don't really have too many females or any. And she's our Maria from Medford. And we've been with her since she was 22. and we're excited, you know. And even I forget what the headline was, like Maria got her ring or something like that. Maria got engaged, but
Maria gets a ring on it. I think it was something like that.
yeah, it was
You
just
guys can
really
pull it up,
nice,
I'm
and it was
sure.
just the support. It's been nice, you
Yep.
know.
So now,
What?
Now we get to talk weddings,
Yeah.
which is what
Yes.
everybody wants to know. And I told all my listeners to tune in tonight to hear what you have in store because it's your day, you say.
Okay. So these are just
So-
some random thoughts. So I'm thinking Shuli from the Howard Stern show, and again, just Howard Stern fans would know Shuli. He recommended to me that Whack Packer should be involved. The Howard Stern Whack Pack should be involved in the wedding party in some way, shape, or form.
Who does that include? Is there a lot of them? Are there a lot of them?
Oh my
The Whack
God,
Pack.
there's
Oh,
tons
yeah.
of them. Yeah, you've got Beetlejuice.
Oh, I love him. I
High
know
Pitch
him.
Eric. I mean, there's a whole group of them. Marianne from Brooklyn.
Oh,
all of them.
wow.
I'm very open to this. I like this
This is
idea.
great.
The other thing is,
Tan
you know,
Mom.
Tan Mom would be there. Yeah, and I'm
Nice.
also thinking the bridal party will, of course, be in Star Trek uniforms, but not these. It will be the Star Trek dress uniforms. So
Oh, I'm
Christian,
I'm
you
not
remember
familiar
on
with those.
so Christian on the series.
Yes,
Remember
absolutely.
when Kirk we'd sit with he'd have to dress up to be with other heads
when
of
he'd
state.
meet with the admirals or a
Yeah.
dignitary would come
Can
and
you
visit.
pull up
yeah.
video?
Yes.
I'd like to see some pictures
I think
of this.
you know, type in Captain Kirk, say William Shatner, Captain Kirk, original series dress uniform. Let's see what comes up on images, and you'll get to see. And I'm thinking, you know, I can have all this done for the whole bridal party. And of course,
Okay.
according to the different ranks, okay, no, that's the tunic. There it is. That
Oh
boy,
my
pull that up. See,
God.
that's me. I would be in that.
It's a really good color to
I'm
be
not
standing
marrying
next to
you in that,
Ex-
FYI.
what?
You can show up to the party with
Maria,
that. I'm not
Maria.
marrying you in that. But by the way, look at how handsome.
Exactly
No.
right. Come on, got to
Wow.
give it up for Bill.
William Shatner is a beautiful man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
He was awesome.
Honey.
Still is.
Are you getting excited to marry me?
I am excited to
Listen
marry
to
you.
the music.
So we're talking, and we've been talking about an LA wedding,
Yeah.
a Boston wedding,
Or you're gonna have
Aw.
multiple weddings.
and a Greek wedding.
That's
It's like
great.
my big fat Greek weddings.
Oh.
And then I got requests from my old college, St. Anselm College, because it's a beautiful, beautiful campus. And so what I said was, it gave me the idea
Uh-oh.
that I'm gonna cast a stand-in bride to play Maria, because I can't ask this. This is just too many commitments for
Okay.
you know, for the tour.
Okay.
So we'll have
Oh.
we'll have a bee.
I like this.
We'll have a bee bride that'll
Veil
come
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bee bride.
that'll come in, you know, real quick, in and out, and then you know the party and the festivities from there. Because
Okay.
I think for me, yeah, I want this gravy train to go as long as it can.
Where will the first wedding be? The one where your actual Maria will be? Will it be
Los
LA?
Angeles?
I think it's gonna be Los Angeles.
Okay.
Really?
So I haven't
This is
Sorry.
amazing.
I don't want to make this about me,
That was a hiccup, FYI.
Oh,
in
Oh,
case
that's a
somebody didn't
first.
know.
Go ahead, Ash.
but I didn't get a text back from either of you regarding my role as flower girl, which I've opted very
Oh my
kindly
God. Do you know how many people actually said that to me? That's so
Oh,
funny. You were not
okay.
the only one.
to be. I'm sure I wasn't.
Oh, by the
but
way,
I was
my
just
so-
wondering if
That's
I've been
so
really
funny.
curious.
My
what's
daughter,
happening with that.
this is my middle daughter Ashley. My
Okay.
youngest is Roxy. My oldest daughter Kathy Kelly
Yes.
texted me and said, "Can I be the flower girl?"
no way.
Yes.
I had
Okay.
Rachel,
Kathy
Valerie.
and I would do
like
it
so
together.
many people
we're
were
teams.
saying that.
We're teammates.
I'll
so if Kathy wants
bartend
to
if
do
that
it,
helps.
We will hold
Perfect.
hands,
We're
but
gonna need a lot of bartenders.
I am really
in
I'm
Greece,
5'2".
especially because I'm inviting the entire country.
I'll be there. Oh yeah, pouring the drinks.
I'm gonna have the biggest, fattest, Greekest wedding ever
In Greece.
in Greece.
All right.
When he
That's gonna be
says that this
amazing.
day is about him, do you take that as a joke, or are you okay with that if it really is?
Oh no! I fully believe that
It's
it
about me.
is. It is. It's
I'm
gonna
the
be.
bride,
by the
you
way,
guys.
it's gonna be way more fun that way. Like I can produce an amazing event, but he's gonna make a fun event. I can be a great guest on Howard Stern. Really, he's the greatest. Like there's
No, thanks.
Boo, I love you, Boo.
Oh, I like this
It's
voice.
My
fia-
fiance.
My fiance.
I keep doing this. When we were on the plane, we were sitting like across from each other. And I'm like, Boo, you did good. And I'll wave my hand at him. But yeah, it's so funny. Like, so Oh, and the best was because we left Howard I literally had to go pee and take a shot for all this IVF stuff. And then I'm like kind of staring in the bathroom in the mirror, like just like I was on drugs or something. Like I didn't understand what had just happened. Then they're rushing me over to do Jenny McCarthy's show with Keven. And then we had to do Taylor Strucker's show. So boom, 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 we do shows. Then we get in the car. We get to AOL because I have an event that I'm speaking at and whatever. Then we get there. And then after that, we had to go back to the hotel, pack up our stuff, and then go to the airport to come back to LA. So we had 30 minutes before we had to leave for the airport. So I'm like, boo, we're going to, not what you think. We went to Central Park, had an ice cream, and then I had to hear everything. So I'm like, I need to know everything. I'm dying. So he downloads me on everything. We shot a little video and sent it to Howard and Beth thanking them. And then on the flight, I wanted to know more because you really aren't going to get it all in a half an hour. So I had him come sit on my seat. We had like those like live flatbeds. So he's sitting on my seat. Then I'm laying on top of him, facing him. And every time the flight attendant went by, I swear he thought I was going to give Keven a blowjob at some point because I'm like right there.
Nice.
Did you
And
think
I'm
about
like,
it for a second?
Boys,
No.
get your
But I
girls a
did say,
diamond.
I wish there was like a door. You never know what would have gone on. But yeah, it was funny. And then we came back here for like a day and a half, whirlwind of events and things here, and then back to Boston. So we haven't really had, this weekend will be our first kind of weekend alone. And
then today you did, so Maria comes in basically not on a red eye, but very late. We landed last night, and then she got up, and this is where I like my meatball, my matzo ball, and to learn this is what is coming your way if you want success. So Maria goes through all of that, and then she's up at 5 to do a Good Day LA, right?
Good Day Live, yeah.
Good Day Live. Then
Good
she
Day LA.
had to tape her series show, which she had to be prepared for. She had Amanda Pete on.
I had to go get probed at the doctor.
I didn't even know that.
Yep.
I had to do the doctors, then
Yep.
had to do E, then had to do Jimmy Kimmel, and now she's here.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
5 shows,
Yeah.
5 changes, 6 changes actually.
And-
And a fitting for Jimmy Kimmel.
And after, right, this like sleepless week and a half of press for your book and still
Mhm.
working your full-time job, and then the engagement that became crazy,
It's
and
been crazy.
and it still has to keep going until what, midweek? It starts to slow down, or the end of the week?
No. It slows down Friday night.
Friday night. Wow.
So I have Batman versus Superman. I've got to do that junket and do that screening, and I forget what else. Oh,
And-
we have the book party tomorrow night.
And
Is
I
it
told you.
today?
Wednesday.
Wednesday night.
Wednesday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We
My-
have book party Wednesday night, so we're cooking for all these people. So.
Right, my Yaya and Papa will coming in another couple hours.
Mhm.
Thank God.
Aw.
Yeah, and every time they come in, it's like they save the day.
Yep.
Is you're yawning? You're tired.
I
honey.
haven't
I'm
had
so
any
sorry.
coffee either. I'm like, just like I was like, I'm not tired. I'm not tired. Just keep going. Just keep going. I didn't think this morning when I got up, I'm like, I'm definitely not making it through this day. How am I going to make it through all of this today?
I tell you all the time, don't do that. I've been telling you that for
Ugh.
how many years?
It was
How is
crazy.
that helping
I
you?
have like pain.
Don't
in my
say
foot.
how. What you have to say is,
My
that's it.
foot's
I can do
numb.
this. I can do
Boo.
this.
My foot's numb.
I know, but honey, no, we've talked
No,
about this
and
before,
okay,
right?
so can I give a little exclusive here?
Sure.
Not to be like too TMI. Hopefully, Lauren, you can gauge by the chats everyone's saying, and you can tell me to stop if it's too TMI.
Sure.
So I go to the doctor to get probed, like usual. And so as they're doing the ultrasound in my vagina, not on top of me, there's 2 different ultrasounds. So they're in my vagina, and and so as I learned how to say it in Spanish, so they're like, so when Friday when I had done it before I left, I had 2 eggs on my right side. And we had done just a few injections just to kind of maybe get an extra egg in there so that Kevin's sperm would have like 2 chances, because it doesn't work otherwise. Like, we've not gotten pregnant at all. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do one more round of just trying naturally to get pregnant, and then maybe we'll do another round of IVF next month. So this morning I go in, and she's like, well, the 2 eggs, they've gone big. This is great. Oh, what are those? Another 2 on the other side. So now I got
No.
4.
No.
And I go, I joked with you guys, like, when you first told me we were going to do this, that I could become the Octomom, and I think I'm about to, because the very least, if Kevin's boys all decided, because we have this halo love effect right now, which is why I think these other 2 matured that weren't supposed to mature, because I think we're just so happy. I was like, your boys all swim and meet my girls. We have at least 4 kids. If those split, okay, because I have twins in my family, then we're the friggin' Octomom. kill myself.
Oh,
So
my
I
God.
texted my doctor while I was on set of E, and I'm like, okay, here's the deal. I'm like, I feel like we should probably do an egg retrieval. Ha ha ha. Just joking. And she goes, no, I really think we should. She goes, it's a fraction of the price of what you're going to pay next month to do it with all the injections. Somehow we ended up with all these eggs. Let's take them out. So I'm going to go do another egg retrieval. And in the midst of all of this, like
Wait,
I'm
what's
like,
an egg retrieval? They just go in.
you go under anesthesia and they extract the eggs from your body and then they create embryos with his sperm and then we put them in the freezer.
Okay.
And so I was like, I kind of got really lucky, but I'm like, add one more thing to the plate this week. Let's have surgery. let's just throw one more thing in. Boom. And so that's what's happening right now.
You have Greek dragon's blood.
I have
okay?
dragon's blood, baby.
Dragon's blood. You
I
can do it.
None of it's getting you down though.
Well, when I did IVF the last time, so in October I did it, they said that they've never seen anything like it. They said they've had one person in the history of their entire business ever go back to work, and it was a firefighter, a female firefighter. And so, because I went right back to work, I hosted E! News that day. I was like, under anesthesia coming out. I'm like, ugh, and I was half dead. I could barely walk, but I did it. And so I was like, oh, yeah, we can do this. This will be nothing.
So we're going to have 8 kids, right? I just texted Maria, and she goes, what if we have 8 kids? I go, get ready to work the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's what he said to me. And I go, wait, boo, that's not what I wanted to hear.
What else could I say?
Did you want to tell everybody what their names were? It's very interesting.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's okay. Well, let's just say, because I have too many Greek names in my vocabulary, but let's say it'll be something like Athemios.
Aphrodite, Aristoteli.
Keep going.
Athanasios.
Yeah.
How many kids is that? 4?
Yeah.
Adonis.
Okay. What else?
And Dave.
Yeah. So Dave, Dave, you got, and here's my reasoning why we have to have Dave. And by the way, some of those Greek names were too easy to pronounce. I want the ones that are impossible. You know? Right? I want Pataskavi. I want all of those ones.
That's my Yaya's name.
Well, that's a great name. One of our kids is probably going to be named that. I want all of that. And then, as long as there's room for Dave.
I'm Dave's godmother.
Right.
We don't forget that.
Oh my God, you're going to be Dave's godmother?
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, obviously I should ask.
Because Dave's going to need, like, the dysfunctional enabler. Because when you find out who Dave is.
Yeah. Perfect. You're right.
So I look at it this way. Every family has a shit bag, no matter what. Let's just face it. And the more kids you have, the better the chances you can have one shit bag, right? So I just, like, why do I have to wait 16, 17 years to figure out who the shit bag's going to be and deal with all that crap that you have to deal with from age 15 till the rest of their lives? Let's, right from the get-go, this is Dave. He's going to be the degenerate of the family. He's going to be smoking cigarettes at like 9. He's going to be always in trouble, drinking, drugs, things like that. And as I was, I was joking, when we were one time, we were up at this Christmas Eve, we were at the Kardashians. We do that every Christmas Eve, and I was seeing all the little kids that they have now. Like that world used to 10 years ago, you didn't see that, but now everyone, all their friends are all have had babies, and they're all growing up, and they're all in these amazing little velvet suits and dresses with little bow ties. And I said, well, there will be Pataska V, Athemios and the rest of them. And I'm like, I think Dave's in a Bruin shirt, a Boston Bruin shirt. Like that's going to be Dave. But again, even when he's like 3-4 years old, he'll be wearing the colors, sporting it proud.
Honey.
But there's a silver lining to Dave.
Okay.
I said this I said to Ashley off the air. I said, later in life when we're old, and all the other kids are all over the country and doing their things and succeeding.
Being successful.
Dave, sometimes the shit stains like Dave, because they have nowhere else to go, they stick around because they have to like still live in the house, and you don't ever want to drive them out. That's actually the healthy thing to do, which would get the Daves of the world better, but you can't. You have to keep them in. And like Auntie Ashley will keep saying, oh, but Dave has a big heart.
Yes. Oh, that's what they always say. He's got a big heart.
Yeah, it's
he's
always,
got a big
they
heart.
always find the one thing to cling to.
Oh, really? And it's always the ones who are like violent and terrible. And but he's got a big heart.
Yeah.
Or it's like
deep
down, big
down.
heart. Or it's like, but he's so wicked smart. But he's so smart. If he just
applied himself.
Yes.
If he just applied himself,
then he would be
deep
right.
down. He's such a good person.
And then everyone, that's just enough for everyone to hang in with Dave and keep it going. But the good thing about the Daves is, so when we're elderly and sick, Maria, they're good at running to CVS to pick up the prescription.
Okay.
Occasionally, they'll wheel out the trash. I mean, you can't give them too much, but it's just enough. Just enough. So, again, by the end of it, after he's terrorized us, cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever, so that's Dave. So, anyway, somewhere in, like, those 8 kids, somewhere is going to be Dave. And at the
Well-
very least, he'll provide me amusement for the
Aren't-
fact that I'll be working the rest of my life to support these 8
Aren't
kids.
you proud that I was smart enough to realize, like, wait, here's the thing. I actually really feel, and Lauren, you said this, by the way, on my radio show. After we were done one day, when I got back, you're like, you're going to get pregnant. I know it, like, right away.
Yeah.
Because we're
You're-
happy, right?
And because you're a good Greek girl, Maria.
Ah.
I think subconsciously you knew that you wanted to wait until you're pregnant to have a baby because you are traditional deep down.
Until she was engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, what
Yeah.
did I say?
Pregnant to have a baby.
Oh,
which
yeah.
typically
Well,
do
you know
wait.
what? That's true.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
did want to do that as well. But you want to make sure that you're married or engaged. I think that deep down you felt that way. And I think now that baby's going to come to you because it knows you're ready.
Lauren,
Yep.
I think you're really right on the money there.
Is he ready?
Subconsciously.
Is Costa cool if you guys have the baby while being engaged? or
I
do
think
you
he'll
have
be
to-
fine now.
That's okay.
I think you would be fine now. Because now that's like my next thing. I'm like, oh, God, what am I going to do? We've been trying to get pregnant. And now all of a sudden, I know what's going to happen. Like, I can feel it in my bones. I was almost the octo-mom this week. Thank God I jumped in and, like, stopped this from happening. Because I'm like, it would happen. Like, I totally can feel it. It would happen. So luckily, we're going to rip those little suckers out, make the little embryos, and then we'll decide when we want to put them in. But I do feel like it would have happened otherwise.
Let's recap. So what's the takeaway from our interview here?
The takeaway?
Yes.
Okay, the takeaway is don't rush into things.
Okay. That's not a good takeaway.
Get
What-
engaged.
No, that's not a good takeaway. Let's go to the takeaway of the reveals. So
What's the reveals?
we're on the verge of maybe 8 kids, number 1.
Yes.
Number 2, first wedding will be Los Angeles, correct?
Oh, thank you,
Can we
Phil.
say that, Maria?
Oh, is this coffee for me? You're so sweet. Thank you.
Phil, anything else?
You're
Why
not
don't you get up there?
I think
You're
we
not
could
supposed
say
to have
that. I'm
coffee
with
when
you.
you're doing
Yeah,
IVF.
anything
You'll have a
else?
sippy sip.
So handsome, Phil.
Phil's
Such a
feet
good
tech.
guy deep
The
down.
great Phil's feet
The other
tech.
takeaway that I get, just to shut any of the haters up, is that this was not a publicity stunt.
Thank you,
because
Ross.
we got
Thank you,
a lot of that, a
No.
lot of
No
people
way.
online saying, "Is this a big publicity stunt?"
When did they say this?
Oh, a bunch of people over, like shitty people on the
Really?
internet. Yeah, it was mostly love,
I didn't hear
mostly
that.
love for you guys out there.
But you're but you're always gonna get
I
that
would
because
cut
there's
it.
such.
But I understand,
But
Kev,
Maria,
because
yeah.
I understand because I didn't freaking believe it. I didn't believe it. I still kind of don't believe it. Like, I get it. But yeah, I didn't see anything like that. So
It's just been 19 years, so what the fuck could the publicity stunt be? Like, what do you mean is this a publicity stunt? That you dated for 19 years to get to this publicity moment? Like, no, that doesn't make any sense. So that's my biggest takeaway.
The only thing I will cop to. This is what I said to your dad too, a year and a half ago, and I reminded him again the night before. Was that the business is tough. And I said this earlier in the show, and you'll hear me say it many, many times on this show because it is. And if you're going to play an honest game, which we have, if you're not willing to slice the next guy's throat or next girl's throat, which we have never, and we're never willing to and never will be willing to, you're not willing to sleep with someone or be underhanded or do that
too
stuff.
bad.
Too bad. Then you have to work extra hard and you have to play extra smart and you have to fight for every inch. So that being said, yeah, in the back of my head, I wanted this to be special. I wanted this to be big for us. And it's always hard to impress someone like you, Maria, because you're at the Oscars, the
That's
Emmys,
really what it is,
the
though.
White
It's
House.
not the other
It
stuff,
is that, but
Kev.
Maria, let me be honest. This is me now. You're not, so you don't know what was going through my head.
Well, you told me what was going through your head.
What was
You
going through my
said-
head was I wanted, but at the same time, Maria, it's like we're going to be on Howard, and why not? Why not have it be a big deal? Because you're not going to have a sex tape. You're not going to go behind the scenes try to hurt somebody to get your job, which other people are going to do to you and to other people in this business. And like I said, it's been going on for 100 years. We don't play that way. So for us, like, yeah, in the back of my head, I was like, if it's a win-win-win-win-win-win-win, like, then why not? Then why not? I was not opposed
But really
to
what
it.
you told me
Right.
is that he's like, how do you impress somebody who's been to the Oscars,
That's
who's
for,
been to the
as I
Super Bowl,
said,
who's
right.
been to all these things? He's like,
First
how
and
do I make
foremost.
this special? And what I think was the best part about this, and my friend Meredith told me when she called into my radio show the other day, was that the coolest part about it is you always hear about your friends' engagements, but you're never there. So everybody got to be there with us and to experience it. And even as I'm thinking about it now, I'm thinking about the fact that we had a whole reality show. In a sense, that got to like play out in that kind of form in a way without even kind of thinking about it in that way, which is kind of cool.
So first and foremost, that was it. But again, in the back of my head, that what I'm saying is, to Roxy's point, it's the only part in my brain that I was like, hey, you know what? Why not? Why not have something positive go out there and get a big publicity hit? You know, but was that the reason? No,
but it
absolutely
it was
not.
meaningful to us in
It
our
was-
story. That's why I'm like surprised that you would even think that. Like this was more about
It was
coming
more,
full
and I'll
circle
say
with Alec.
again, first and foremost, that's what it was. But in the back of my head, Maria, had it been bad for your career, I wouldn't have done it.
Well, yeah. I
So
don't
that's
think
what
you're
I'm
explaining
saying.
it totally right.
I have a
So,
question for you.
What else do I
Maria.
have to explain? You know, that's the lessons of this business, Maria.
I don't think she wants anybody listening to this thinking
I
that
know.
you did this, but I'm
But
not
I
hearing
didn't.
that. Yeah,
I
I'm not hearing
didn't.
that.
Yeah.
I didn't. It's just that, you know, if that good was going to come out of it, then so be it. If it was going to be bad for you, I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
No matter how special it was.
That's explained a little bit better.
know?
I think the way you were
So-
explaining it before made it seem a
No,
little
I think
different.
you're being sensitive to. I'm not afraid to admit that, Maria.
I'm
but
not afraid for you to admit it. You
but-
can admit whatever you
but
want. It's
the
your
idea
show.
is, well, it doesn't seem like my show tonight. But anyway, what? Did you have your coffee? Phil, can you bring her some donuts too? What?
What are you
Nothing.
jelly?
I'm totally jelly.
The kind of
leave.
donut you like?
Yes.
I'll leave. I
Jelly?
guess you don't want
Uh,
your
Oh
fiance
no!
here
Don't leave,
anymore.
Boo!
No,
Don't
it's fine.
leave. So,
Oh,
but
no,
anyway,
Kyle, stay
I'm
here.
trying to think like
Is
what
that
else?
the voice?
What else did we learn from this? We learned the wedding is gonna be in L.A. or the wedding, the first one, right?
Is it going to be the first one? I don't think so.
Big, small? What are you guys thinking?
The first one is gonna be in L.A. and it's gonna be big
Okay.
because to
We
me,
have so many friends and
Yeah,
stuff here.
and-
So it's like this is the friends one. The family one will be in Connecticut. Then the like, hey, everyone who wants to come in Greece.
but we have
other
fa-
family one
but
there.
we have family and very dear friends in Greece as well.
Here.
The last 15 years that we've
Yes.
made. But the people who are in our lives every day, who've been in our lives every day in LA, who were with us from the beginning, will be here
Mm-hmm.
in the LA one. And I think the LA one will
Well,
be
they
first.
also were our family when our
That's
families
right.
weren't there. So
Family's what you make it. And the people here, people in this room right now are part of our family, and we have other people who are part of our family. And I think LA will be the first, but I guess we're not ready to give up that exclusive. I guess there's still more debate.
I have a couple more engagement questions for you guys, if
Please.
I'm allowed to ask.
Oh,
Sure.
Do you guys, when you hear people have been together for a year and get engaged, or 2 years
Do
get
you judge?
engaged? Yeah, do you judge them? Because 19 years is a hell of a long time. Anything else? Is it like, psh, what is that?
No,
All bets are off with love.
everything's different because we
that's
knew
right.
right away.
Everything's different for everybody.
So if it had happened then, I mean, who knows? Like you never know how things work, but everybody's different. I mean, if it's like really quick, like under a year, and they're going to get married under a year, then I'm like, God, you kind of don't know each other yet. That's the only thing. It's not that you can't love somebody that quickly. You can love somebody that quickly, but you don't know them yet. And it takes years, like multiple, like more than 3 years, I think, to really know somebody, to know how they're going to react in situations and how they're going to handle themselves. And then, you know, through all these years, like you're either going to grow together or grow apart, because as you're growing and becoming a woman, for me, for example, I was 19 when I met him. So it's like I had many milestones to like go through with him, and it's either we're going to go through them together or we're not. Luckily we did. But I do think that's the only thing I think of is that, like, damn, like, you don't know him well enough yet. And it's not that you don't love him and you guys may not be, you may be totally right for each other, but you just don't know everything yet. And then when you have that pressure of like, oh shit, we're married, I feel like it has like this kind of claustrophobic effect on people, so that when something goes wrong, they feel like they're stuck. And that's what I always loved about us. We were never stuck. For us, it was like we were staying together because we really wanted to be together. And so now I feel stuck. No, boo, I'm kidding, boo. Love you, boo.
I love you, boo.
Oh, that warms my heart. It really does, actually, watching you guys and like be affectionate in this kind of way. We don't get to see that very often.
I know. Well, because our personal lives have never even really existed. It's always like our business that's
The
existed.
business was a
And so-
9.
And so now,
Personal life was a
now
1.
I feel like it gets to take a front seat a little bit, you know, and that's exciting because everything is calm. When something's not calm, you have to deal with it. And work was not calm for a long time. And so work is calm. So then we've been kind of focusing on the kids thing and everything. And now with this, we have all that love, the love wave coming at us. We have just everything is copacetic. Everything is good.
It's a bit of a contradiction to people who say, you hear a lot of people say you can't plan these things and it's never the right time. Yeah, you guys have
Yeah,
heard that
I've
when it
heard
comes
that.
to
Of
marriage or
course.
kids.
Yes.
But you know what?
this was the right time.
It's actually not true. It just isn't. There's just times in life where I always say to you guys, you're in your 20s. This is your time to work hard. Like I have people who think they're going to kick it in their 30s and 40s. I'm like, really? Yeah, there's Jared with a thumbs up. You know, it doesn't work that way. Because by 30s and 40s, if you haven't kicked it in your 20s, you think you're also going to wake up and go, okay, now I'm going to really work hard, folks. No, because physically you don't have the strength and you haven't built up the stamina. But no, there are times that it's just better. And I know people paint themselves into corners and make their lives far more difficult than they have to be because they make these decisions at these times. I was in an argument with somebody about this a while ago, and family-wise, they're really struggling financially. And they married very young, had a lot of kids, and it's really a struggle. And I look at some of my friends out here who waited for a longer time, then had the children, and are financially very comfortable. They don't have the same worries. And all this, like, well, love will pull you through and all that stuff. Like, it's, on paper, yeah. But really, it makes life a lot harder. You know? So I think that I'm glad we waited. And I didn't feel it was healthy, not the marriage, but I did not want to bring children into some of these other. And Maria was involved in some toxic environments, toxic works relationships. And I was like, I remember telling Costa, like, I don't care what you and Lisa think and other people think, it's not healthy to go through a pregnancy and to bring a child into that. It is not.
No.
It's not going to be healthy for her body. It's not going to be healthy. I think there'll be repercussions on the baby's life. You know, you want a baby to come into something pleasant and happy. Now, an accident, of course, you just make the best of it. But if you have a choice, no. You just
was
wait.
an accident.
Yeah, that'll be Dave.
Were you an accident?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
I just thought that was
That's
funny.
what Dave will use the rest of his
So,
life.
Kev, in the last 19 years, you didn't feel like there was ever a right time, or were there almost missed moments?
For the marriage?
Yeah.
Remember
No, I
you
didn't feel-
kind of asked me once.
Really?
Well,
Really?
Remember back in the day?
back at the beginning.
the very beginning.
Like, fuck it,
Were
let's
you
just
kind
go
of
to-
sour that I didn't say yes or
No.
something? I kind of remember.
Nope.
What is
Wait,
kind
what
of
is
asking?
happening
Yeah.
right now?
Well,
What?
something happened. I barely remember it myself. But remember,
I said, let's just go get married.
let's go to Vegas,
Yeah,
right?
let's go get
I'm not
Vegas, get
crazy.
married.
How
Yeah,
old? How many years in were you guys?
I'm like one, maybe.
maybe a year in.
wow.
Yeah.
Barely.
And you just turned him down?
How did I turn you down?
No,
I
we
don't
didn't
remember.
really.
Like,
We just talked about it, and then we like, yeah, maybe we should. Then we like, oh God, it's like that just make things worse, and
yeah.
that's just focus. Back to the focus.
Nobody loved us.
Yeah, just the focus.
Did
at
you
him.
like on Jimmy Kimmel when I kind of was like, went back when nobody loved us?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
Aw.
such a good audience.
But I kept, back then I kept telling you and Joe, who's our dear friend, and he's in his red Star Trek uniform here somewhere.
Yeah, he's gonna replace me because my eyeballs won't stay open anymore,
Okay.
and I can't have coffee on the meds.
So when he was, I would always tell. I was like, listen, I will get us out of this. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
I
I will
always
get it.
said it.
I will get us out. You guys, just please do not lose the faith. Just don't lose
You're
your
the
faith in
captain
me.
of the ship, boo.
And we got us out. Well, listen, Maria, we all love you. I
Thank you,
love
babe.
We
you.
do.
Thank
I
you.
love you. And as I said, I feel like it's an LA wedding. That's the first one. We're working on 8 kids. We know
No.
one's going to be named Dave. We could at least give that away, right?
Dave.
Is there anything
Aw,
else?
Dave. No. Just that's it. it's a very exciting time.
All right, honey. Well, we love you. Please
Love
go
you
get some
too.
rest. And by the way, thank you for supporting us on this. Thanks for coming on. as a-
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Uh,
Thank you for
Welcome.
hanging out with us.
Karen.
Oh, look at it shine as she takes her
I know.
headphones off.
Oh
Look.
my
Blinding.
god, he like did so good.
I know.
Yeah.
This
I
is
know.
the most.
Beautiful.
I'm
You
really
know, I could
impressed.
not have picked out my own ring if I tried. Like I really, and the designer, he was interviewed, and my favorite thing is he said, you know, every girl knows what she wants for an engagement ring. So what has she said? Like has she said round, square, rectangle, whatever? And he goes, never in 19 years.
Yeah.
And you know
Never.
what he said? I was like, do you think I'm a weirdo? And he goes, no. He's like, I think you were very secure. And I was like, yeah, I'm a weirdo. But anyway,
A weirdo with a beautiful ring.
a weirdo with a beautiful
Now you always
ring.
have to have a manicure though. That's the only thing.
It's
Which
a
you
little
do
bit
right
of pressure.
now, but
it's,
yeah.
it's pressure.
It's
Yeah,
definitely
it's-
pressure. Look at Roxy and I.
It's legit.
Crap.
Those are just the little millennials.
Bare fingers.
Honey, we love you. Thank you so much. Just a little shout out, you guys. TheTomorrowShow.com. If you're not watching us live, if you're listening, you can go to TheTomorrowShow.com to see this show and other past shows. I'm about to get a kiss goodbye from my fiance. Rox, will you take it from there for a little thing?
Yeah, of course. I love watching them kiss. I know Ashley has a hard time with
Little
it.
photo
No,
op.
I don't. I don't want to think about having sex. Like sex is the only thing.
Yeah,
Like,
but
they
they
can
said
kiss.
making out leads to sex. They
Sex
said
in
that
T
last
minus
week.
45.
Yeah, no, don't say that.
Is
right?
that true? Kevin's getting laid
all right.
tonight.
Anyway, so let's switch
The
subjects.
captain of our ship is getting laid.